Welcome dear student and Jai Swaminarayan. Today in this video we will discuss the Newton's second law of the motion. Dear student, in the previous video we have discussed the Aristotle's false statement regarding the motion of the object. Galileo's was proved the Aristotle's statement wrong, right? Galileo's experiment for the motion of the object on an inclined plane, and from that we understand the Newton first law of the we will discuss the Newton first law of the motion, right? So what is the Newton first law of the motion? So if the body remain in a state of the rest or the state of the uniform motion until compel the external force. So if the resultant external force acting on the body is zero, the body retain its state of the rest or the state of the motion. So this statement is called the law of inertia. So in the previous video we were understand about what do you mean by the inertia, what are the example of the inertia, what is the measure of the inertia, that is the mass,
Sir,
right? So dear student, in this video
hello.
we will understand a Newton's second law. Newton's
Sir,
first law of the motion gives the definition of the force. Force is a physical quantity, external agency that requires to change the state of the object, right? Or state of the object of a rest or a uniform motion. Force is required. So the Newton first law gives the definition of the force, whereas the Newton's second law gives the value of the force. What amount of the force is required to change the state of the body, right? So let us discuss the Newton's second law. Before discussing the Newton's second law of the motion, let us discuss the one physical quantity, that is the momentum is more important regarding a motion of the object, right? So dear student, before study the Newton's second law, we had understand about a one more physical quantity regarding a motion, that is the momentum. What is the momentum and what is the importance of the momentum, right? So here what do you mean by the momentum, or we can say that the linear momentum of the object. So the momentum of the body is the product of its mass and the velocity, right? Linear momentum is defined as the product of the mass and the velocity. If the object is moving with the some velocity v having a mass m, right? So momentum m is equal to mass into velocity. So the momentum is denoted by a p. So linear momentum of the body, p is equal to m into v, right? Where p is the linear momentum of the body, m is the mass of the body, and v is the velocity of the body. Now what is the SI unit of the linear momentum, or we can say that the SI unit of the momentum, kilogram. Unit of the mass is a kilogram and unit of the velocity is a meter per second. So from that the SI unit of the momentum is kilogram meter per second, right? We can write like this, kilogram meter per second or kg ms minus 1, right? So if the object is moving with the some velocity, it has a some amount of the linear momentum. If the object is moving with the constant velocity, its a momentum is also constant. If the body is at a rest, its a velocity is a 0. So we can say that its a linear momentum is also a 0. So if the body change its state, right, from the rest to the motion, its a momentum will be change, right? So momentum is more important compared to the velocity. How? Let us see. The momentum is important. For example, a truck moving at a very low speed can kill a person standing in its path because of the heavy mass of the truck, right? So if we consider the truck is moving with the very low speed and the person standing in the path of the truck, it will kill the person. Why? Because of the heavy mass. The truck has a very high mass, right? Heavy mass, and so that it has a momentum, very large amount of the momentum for the low speed. The velocity of the, here the velocity of the truck is 0, the velocity of the truck is a less, but the mass of the truck is a very heavy, right? So its a momentum is a high, so it will kill the person. Same way, right, a bullet of a small mass when fired from a gun can kill a person because of the large velocity of the bullet. So instead of this, if we consider the small bullet has a very small amount of the mass, right? But if when we fire a bullet from the gun, right? It has a large amount of the velocity, so it creates the more momentum in the body, right? So here the impact of the body depends on the mass and the velocity, not only mass, not only velocity, right? So the impact of the body depends on the combined effect of the mass and the velocity. So we can say that the product of the mass and the velocity is called the momentum. So the impact of the body depends on its momentum, not on the mass, not on the velocity. It is depends on the momentum, right? Understand, dear student? So dear student, understand here the momentum of the body is more important compared to the velocity, right? If the momentum of the body is more, it creates the more impact on the body, and if the momentum of the body is less, it creates the less impact on the body. So let us take some general more experiment, more experience. Let us discuss the common experience indicates that the importance of the momentum. Suppose a lightweight vehicle, say a small car, and a heavyweight vehicle, say a loaded truck, are parked on the horizontal road. We all know that a much greater force is needed to push the truck than the car to bring them to the same speed in the same sign, right? So if we have a two different object, right, some car, we require a more force to move a loaded truck compared to the car. Now similarly, a greater opposing force is needed to stop a heavy body than a light body in the same time. So if they are moving with the same speed, so if the two object of one is a heavy body and second one is a light body are moving with the same speed, and if we need to stop both the body, we require a more force applied to the heavy body compared to the light body, right? Same things. Another example is that if the two stones, one light and other is a heavy, are dropped from the top of the building, a person on the ground will find it easier to catch the light stone compared to the heavy stone, right? Because the mass of the body is thus an important parameter that determines the effect of the force in the motion. So the impact on the body depends on the mass of the body, and impact of the impact of the impact on the body depends on the velocity of the body. So the impact on the body depends on the mass and the velocity. The product of the mass and the velocity is called the momentum, right? Now suppose a fixed force is applied for a certain interval of the time on a two bodies for a different mass, initially at a rest. So the lighter body picks up a greater speed than the heavier body, and thus the same force for the same time causes the same change in the momentum for the different body. So for example, suppose we apply a same amount of the force and on a two body, one is a heavier body and another is a lighter body. So it creates the lighter body has attains the more speed compared to the heavier body, but the momentum of both the body is same. Initially both the object are at a rest, right? So initial momentum is zero, but after applying a force, the body gets the some amount of the momentum, so it creates the both bodies attains the, or both the body, we can say that both the body retains the same change in the momentum as the applied force on the body remains same, right? So here dear student, we can say that the change in the linear momentum is depends on the external force acting on a body, right? So this statement is known as the Newton's second law for the motion. So here the Newton's second law for the motion, the rate of change of the momentum of the body is directly proportional to the applied force and take place in the direction in which the force acts, right? So here the what do you mean by the rate of change of momentum? If we consider that suppose we are moving with the bicycle, right, and which has a some amount of the momentum, right? Now if we want to stop a bicycle and if we are not hurry up, we are applying a little brake on the bicycle, right? And after traveling, if we applying a small amount of the force on the bicycle, right? The bicycle will stop after a certain traveling a certain distance, right? So now, but if we require to suddenly stop the bicycle, we require to apply a more force, and the bicycle will stop us suddenly. So in both the case, the change in the momentum is same, but time taken to change the momentum is a different. So the rate of change of the momentum, that is the change in the momentum divided by time taken to change the momentum, right? So here the rate of change of momentum of a body is directly proportional to the applied force and take place in the direction in which the force is applied. Here the linear momentum is a vector quantity and the change in the linear momentum is in the direction of the external force, right? So how we can derive the mathematical form of the Newton's second law? So dear student, let us discuss how we can derive the mathematical form of the Newton's second law. Suppose under the action of the constant force F for a time interval delta t, the velocity of the body of a mass m changes from v to v plus delta v. So here v is the initial velocity and change in the velocity is a delta v. So here initial velocity of the object body having a mass m is a v. So we can say that it's a initial momentum p is equal to m into delta v, right? So final velocity is a delta v. So we can say that the final momentum of the body p dash is equal to m into v plus delta v. So there will be a change in the linear momentum. The linear momentum of the body is a change in the linear momentum delta p is equal to m into delta v. Here the mass of the object remains constant, right, during the motion of the object. So the change in the linear momentum is delta p is equal to mass into the change in the velocity. So we can write like this: delta p, that is the change in the linear momentum, final momentum minus initial momentum, is equal to m into delta v, right? So according to the Newton's second law, what is the Newton's second law? The rate of change of the momentum is directly proportional to the applied force. So F is the external force that is directly proportional to the rate of change of linear momentum, that is the change in the linear momentum delta p divided by delta t. Or if we remove this proportionality, we require a constant. We take a constant k is equal to 1. So we get a formula F is equal to delta p by delta t. So here the mathematical form of the Newton's second law, taking the time limit delta t tends to 0. If we take a time interval delta t tends to 0, right, infinitesimally very small time, right, we can write the force F is equal to F into dp by dt. So rate of change of linear momentum gives the external force. So if we here take the k is equal to 1, if we take a k is equal to 1, we can say that F is equal to dp by dt, right? So dp, that is the change in the linear momentum, and dt, that is a time. So the differentiation of the linear momentum with respect to time gives the external force acting on the body, right? But here we know that P is equal to P. What is the P? P is the linear momentum, and linear momentum is equal to the product of mass into velocity, right? So F is equal to, we put instead of this P, we put d by dt, we get a m into v. So differentiating of m into v, here mass is a constant, mass of the object remains constant, so we take outside the differentiation and take a constant k is equal to 1. We get F is equal to m into dv by dt. So dv by dt, what is the dv by dt? Rate of change of velocity with time. Time rate of change of velocity is called the acceleration. So we get dv by dt is equal to acceleration a. We get the mathematical form of the Newton's second law, F is equal to m into a. So here the force, external force acting on the body is the product of the mass and the acceleration, right? So from that, what is the unit of the force? Unit of the mass is a kg. Unit of the acceleration is a meter per second square. So the unit of the force is the kg meter per second square. So the Newton's second law gives the value of the force which required to produce the acceleration A on the body of a mass m, right? So kg meter per second square, it is a Newton also. So 1 Newton is equal to 1 kg meter per second square. So what is the 1 Newton force? Can you define the 1 Newton force or not? So now dear student, understand this mathematical form of the Newton second law. What is the 1 Newton, definition of the 1 Newton, right? Now we will discuss the important point regarding the Newton second law, right? First point, in the Newton second law, F is equal to m into A. So if the external force acting on the body is 0, implies that acceleration of the body is 0, and it is a this second law we can say that obviously consistent with the Newton's first law, right? So here the if the resultant external force acting on the body is 0, the acceleration of the body is 0, because the mass of the body does not 0, right? So here the Newton's second law is consistent with the Newton's first law. What is the Newton first law? We can know that Newton first law, if the resultant force acting on the body is 0, right, it remains state, it remains, it retains its state of the rest or the state of the uniform motion. So according to the Newton second law, we can also prove that the Newton first law, right, when the external force acting on the object is 0, acceleration of the body is 0. Now here from the Newton second law is, we can say that the force acting on the body is the product of the mass and the acceleration, right? So here the mass of the body is a scalar quantity, whereas the acceleration of produced in the body is a vector quantity. So we can say that the force is a vector quantity, and we can write the component of the force in the direction of the x direction, Fx is equal to the differentiation of the x component of the linear momentum with respect to time, or we can say that the mass into the x component of the acceleration. So y component of the force we obtain, Fy is equal to dpy by dt is equal to m into ay. So here ay is the component of the acceleration in the direction of the y. Similarly, Fz is equal to dpz by dt, mass into az. Here az is the component of the acceleration in the direction of the z. So we can represent the force in the form of their component also. Differentiating x component of the linear momentum, we get the x component of the force. Differentiating y component of the linear momentum, we get the y component of the force, and differentiating a z component of the linear momentum, we get the z component of the force, right? So we can represent the force acting on the body, Newton's second law of the motion, in their component form also, right? Third important point is that in this, the second law of the motion is applicable to a single point particle, single object, right? So here the force F in the law stands for the net external force acting on the particle and stands for the acceleration of the particle. So here the acceleration of the particle is due to the external force acting on the body. We are not considering any internal forces in the system of the particle, right? So in the internal forces in the system are not be included in the F. So here the force in the Newton's second law, the force acting on the object is only the external force acting on the object, not the internal force. So understand these important points regarding the Newton's second law.